Good morning. This Monday morning is the beginning of our fall break camp at church. We're going to have about a dozen children participating in this fall break camp, and I'll be down there for the rest of the week. And I'm going to ask the children to help me film these devotionals. And so it won't be today because I haven't had a chance to film it yet, but for the rest of the week, we'll have children helping to lead us in our time of devotional. And part of the reason that I want to do that is that during this political election season, we've heard the word childish or childlike or just child used as a negative term lots to describe politicians or to describe surrogates of politicians or to describe the behavior of people on Facebook. And when we use the word child in a negative term, we may mean they're impulsive or they're impatient or they're selfish or they're thoughtless. And all of those things, of course, are true of children from time to time. We've all seen the 2-year-old having a temper tantrum in the grocery store. Some of us have been that 2-year-old having the temper tantrum in the grocery store. And yet that isn't fair to children to say that's all they are, because children often are more generous than adults. They can be more thoughtful and more kind than adults. They really often look to the interests of others much, much more than we do. And so I'm hoping that the kids can teach us a lot this week. One lesson that I learned a couple of years ago in that exact vein was on Easter Sunday morning. In 2019, we had an Easter egg hunt on Sunday morning for the kids, and after the Easter egg hunt was over, the kids all came into the fellowship hall and they were opening up their eggs and pouring the candy out into their baskets so they could turn the eggs back in so that we could use them again at another time. And Kinsley Faulkner, one of our kids, happened just to be sitting next to me on the stage in the fellowship hall, and we were talking about the different candy she had, and there was one kind of candy that she was really excited about, and she got 2 or 3 pieces of it, and she was so excited that that was the candy. And so we were talking about that a little bit, and she got all her eggs, and she turned them in, and she came back over, and then she reached into her basket, and she handed me one of those pieces of that special candy. And she said, "Pastor Courtney, I want you to have this candy." Well, of course, immediately I said, "Kinsley, no, that's for you, and we want you to enjoy that. That's not for me. It's okay, thank you, but I want you to have it." And she said, "No, Pastor Courtney, I want you to have this piece of candy. I have 2 or 3 others of this same kind, but I want you to have this." And I was so touched, and I realized at that moment that the best way I could grace her was to accept this gift that she was giving to me. And later after church, I did open up that candy and I ate it for dessert, and it was some of the best candy I've ever had because it was given in love. And that's the best of what children are, and we want to recognize that as well. In Isaiah 11, Isaiah says, "And a little child shall lead them." And that actually is Isaiah's vision for the future. He says in there that the wolf shall lie down with the lamb, and the lion shall lie down with the sheep, and that a little child shall lead them. And it's his vision for the future, for the kingdom to come, but also, of course, it is a vision for the here and the now. And so this week we'll be hearing from kids teaching us, and to kind of wet your whistle a little bit, I want you to see a version of the kid president. And this is a kid and his much older brother. His older brother was already an adult when they filmed these. About 7 or 8 years ago, began filming kid presidents, and the older brother said that his younger brother was so full of childlike optimism that he wanted to counter some of the pessimism, the adult pessimism, and sarcasm and whatnot that he saw in the world with a childlike optimism. And so he began recording Kid President. We used this clip actually exactly a year ago in one of our services that we had for youth and for children. And so I want you to see this as a reminder that we all can change the world. We're never too old, we're never too young to change the world. And then hopefully for the rest of the week we will have even better or more wisdom from the children who are at the day camp. We're going to do this all week long because we know God is with us. Amen.
There are lots of ideas how you can change the world. Some people think you should just complain about it. That won't change the world, it'll just make it mad. Some people think you have lots of money, making it rain everywhere you go. Holla for $1. Some people think you have to be really loud and yell a lot. It's like with a bullhorn shouting, "Hey you, yeah you, do it my way right now, you heard?" Other people choose to just make fun of everything. That's dumb, everyone's dumb. It's easier to make fun of stuff, but it's cooler to make stuff. Some people think changing the world can only be done by the smartest person in the world. Just put them in a room, let them figure it out. The solution of world hunger? Food. Wow, that was so amazing. Some people see the bad in the world and they just decide to ignore it, but that won't help anything. Some people think you have to be really famous and super cool. In fact, lots of people think you have to be really powerful to make a difference, like being mayor or senator or president. But the truth is, a title doesn't make you more important. The world is changed by you. It's one person filled with love. And they just have to live it out, so they do something awesome. Then that person is filled with love, and they do something awesome. It just goes on and on and on and on. And the next thing you know, everything's awesome. Some people think it's impossible to change the world.
It's impossible to change the world.
Well, you can see why they could think that. Living in the world with kids who are hungry, people who are homeless, families weren't happy. I'm just trying to figure it out like everybody else, man. But I do know this, though. Next time you feel overwhelmed or totally alone, remember this. Things don't have to be the way they are. The world is changed by ordinary people. Little people living out big love. And that's what gives the world a reason to dance. So, how do we change the world?